Good morning. So it is 2023 fall semester, and I'm going to walk you through how to pair WebAssign and Brightspace. I had previously recorded a video for this, and the process has changed slightly. So I figured let me update it. All right, so let me just jump right in and try to be brief about it too. So I'm going to share my screen for most of this video, but you can see me waving my hands potentially in the corner. All right, so the way the process is going to start is going to start on WebAssign. So you have to have a WebAssign account to do this, obviously. And you have to be teaching out of a Cengage text, I'm assuming, right? So you wouldn't be here if those two things weren't true. Anyhow, so you're going to go into your Cengage, your WebAssign account, and if you've already created a class, great, but you're going to create a class. And so I'm just going to walk through that process right now. I'm going to create a class. This is my Math 140 class that I'm trying to do. You might be copying from somebody else. If that's the case, grab the one you have there, but I don't. So this is a new one. And so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to pause so you don't have to watch me do the whole process. So here we go. I'm going to pause and I'll come back. I'm back. All right, so I filled out all the information and I clicked on this one, Students Enroll from Learning Management System. Unless you're enrolling your students yourself in the roster, you're probably going to want to choose this one because that means they'll log into Brightspace and then essentially click something. Well, they'll click on one of the WebAssign links and that'll be the way that they enroll. And then they'll enter in their access code when they purchase it or get the free trial. So that's what you want to do. I will add a correction to this video in the comments if that's not accurate, but I'm pretty sure that's the way. All right, so there we go. I just let you know these options are up to you. I'm building my own stuff, and I'm going to create the course. And so the course is created, almost, just about. There, it's created. So if I go back to that previous screen I was on, my classes, this one should be there. And there it is. See, earlier I had nothing here. Now the class is set. No students, not a surprise. I'm not going to touch anything else. So I'm done. So I am actually completely done on the WebAssign side. Now, of course, if you're the type of person that wants to build your course, that's what you would do right now before you copied it over or before you did the linking. But I like to build as I go. So for now, this is sufficient. I don't need to do anything else. Now I'm going to jump back. Now I'm going to jump into Brightspace. And I'm going to go into the course for which I'm putting the WebAssign course, right? So make sure you pick the right course. And the place you need to find this is similar to the previous way to do this. You go into Course Admin, and then you go into Course Builder. And then from there, I actually should have done something first. I should have created a module and content, but I could do it here. I'm going to create a module just for this to land in. I'll call it WebAssign, very original name. And I'm not going to do anything else with the module. I could edit that later, but for now, I just want a folder essentially to put this into. All right, now comes the fun part, the important part. So you see all these little buttons over here. I don't know why I'm using the mouse. I have my pen I could use, but maybe not. There's the Cengage one. That's the one you want. So you can do one of two things. You can either click it. If you click it, it'll give you a chance to decide where it goes. I'd rather just drag it where I want to put it. And see, I know I'm in the right place because it's orange. And so I'm going to put it there. That's where I want it. If you put it here, it's not like the world would explode or anything. It just means you'd have it in the wrong place. It'd be very confusing. So you put it in the module you want it to be in. That's where when you do add content later, that's where the stuff could go. And actually, you could change later on where it goes by dragging it into any module, really. But for the first one, I created this WebAssign module, so that's where I'm putting it. All right, so now you have a couple choices of things to do. Most people would probably want to do the first one because that's the one that actually aligns with what we're doing here. I created a WebAssign course. WebAssign is a homework platform with an ebook, and so that's what I'm going to do. And now I scroll. And I scroll and I scroll. And this is really just having all the titles that are local to Harold Washington or city colleges. So if you want to speed up the process, you just type in the author of the book and it should come up faster. Yes, you see, I'm teaching, it's a college algebra, and Stuart has a couple books, and this is the one I want. So that's the edition. Just make sure you get the right edition, everything else. But it should be theoretically only those titles that have been adopted or chosen recently. In this case, at city colleges. If you're not at city college and you're watching this video, it'll look similar just for your institution, most likely, if you're doing this process of integration. All right, so here we go. So I'm going to link this to the course. And because I already created a course, I'm going to link it to an existing course. And you see there, the only course I just created is the one that pops up. You could do other things here too, but this is sort of the preferred method, to mess with things first in WebAssign and then link to that course that you created. It's got the dates in there too. Everything's good. And now I scroll down. It was sort of hidden right there. You couldn't see it, but I'm going to scroll down and click on continue. That's going to be the next step I do. And now we're done. We really are pretty much done at this point. So you'll notice everything's cool. Everything's good. They are linked. I just shut that window. I'm not sure why I did that. I'll have to go back in and fix that. Don't do what I did. That was an accident. So here we go. Now you're at the point where you can actually select the content. And this is a step you need to be familiar with, because later on, if you have assignments, this is going to be how you grab those assignments to put them into Brightspace. But most people, when they select the content, they would want, that's the home page, the first one. And then, technical support's a good thing for students to have access to. This fourth one, it's not clear what it is, but it's the textbook. And the companion site's more of an instructor-facing thing, so that's up to you if you want to put it in. It doesn't hurt to put it in. You could always take it out later. You also can hide things from students. That's all Brightspace stuff. So I'm going to put everything in. If you had assignments, they would appear here as well. If you had quizzes, they would appear here as well. So you can put whatever you want in. And you see this Add to Gradebook tab here. That's sort of the reason we're doing this. I should have said that at the beginning. One of the main reasons we want to do this syncing, this integration process, is because it allows you to get grades from WebAssign into the Brightspace gradebook for free. You don't have to do anything to do that. So if I had created an assignment before this, and I might do that as the last part of the video, you would have seen a little button here saying it will automatically create a gradebook item. We'll talk about that at the very end. But this part of the process is very similar to the other video. All right, so let me click continue. And we're good. And we're done. Yeah, see, if I would have just let the window go before, it'd been fine. So now, to make sure it all worked out, you would go into content and go into that module and look at that. Well, you didn't see it before, but there was nothing in there before. Now there's 6 things. And it's everything we need. And so actually it's there twice, because I remember I clicked that thing. That was the reason it came twice. So I'll just delete the extra one. Yeah, so there we go. So if I click there, it should bring me to the home page on WebAssign in my course. Assuming I picked the right start date. Yeah, it's fine. There it is. It'll look a little different for the students, but that's what it'll look like. And then that technically opened up a separate tab. You can see up here a separate tab on Brightspace on your browser. So you still got that same one there. And that's kind of a quirky Brightspace thing that it does. And so if I go back to the WebAssign module, if I wanted to get a direct link into the textbook, it's right here. And again, it's going to open up a separate tab. So you get a lot of tabs if you're not careful. And there I am in the textbook. And again, I'm right back here. All right, so I'm going to give it a quick pause and create an assignment just so you can see how that works, and then the video will be done. All right, so I'm back. No time's passed for you. Hours have passed for me. It's been a long time. Anyhow, so I created this assignment, very originally titled Assignment 1. And it has a due date, has the availability date, all that stuff. I just, I did the defaults. I'll be deleting this after this video is done. And so when I go back into Brightspace, the assignment doesn't automatically pop up. Wouldn't that be nice? It does not. So you need to go back into, there we go, into Course Builder. And remember earlier I told you that this would have stuff in it later on. Well, now it does, has one extra thing. So I can either click on this or just drag it. I like to drag it. I don't know why. And so I'm going to have that same option as before, select content. So it's like deja vu. Don't worry so when you click select content, it's not like everything's going to go back in again. You select what goes in. So notice it doesn't tell you the things are in, which is, so you don't know. If you were to click these again, they'd end up duplicated. But notice there's a difference now. This assignment 1's here. So I want assignment 1 in there. And by default, it adds it to the gradebook. If you don't want it in the gradebook, you can unclick that. I'm not sure why you wouldn't. I would say add it to the gradebook and at least just deactivate the gradebook item until you feel like it's done. So there might be a reason you don't want it in the gradebook, but just realize it will by default go in the gradebook. So when I click continue, it should end up in that module. Now, because it's in a module, that's very convenient. That means if you're writing an assignment on Brightspace or an announcement on Brightspace, you can link to that. So students have ways to access that assignment without having to go into this module. That's one of the benefits of doing this. So when I write my assignments, which involve both written and WebAssign stuff, I can have a direct link to that WebAssign assignment rather than them having to go into the WebAssign module every time. It's just a preference. Or if I'm typing an announcement, I could tell them, okay, this is due, and I could put the link to the assignment there. So that's convenient, but it's there. It should be there now. So if I go back into content, you'll see it's the last thing in there, and it's also by default. This is really cool. So remember the availability dates and the due date came over from WebAssign to Brightspace. They're there already. So if I go to my home page, they should be on my calendar. Do I have the calendar? Yeah, there it is. See, it's right there. They have the due date. You can the availability date in Brightspace, you can set it to show that, but it's usually not terribly useful. So there it is. That's kind of cool, right? So there you go. So that's it. So, recap, start in WebAssign, create a course, either yourself or a copy of somebody else's or a copy of your old course, then go into Brightspace and go into course admin. That's the key. That button right there is the key. Like, I can't emphasize that enough. Like, people don't know where to look, but that's where you want to look. That is the key. Like, I'm going to emphasize this, like course admin, very important. And then once you click into course admin, wouldn't that be nice if it was the same thing circled? It's not. You want to go to course builder. That's where so if you're like me and you build the course as you go, then you'll visit here fairly often to put in those new assignments. And like I said, you could put the assignments anywhere. So if you're the type of person that has your modules set by the week or by the date, instead of adding the assignment to your WebAssign module, you can put it into the module of that given date or week, which is convenient for the students. And again, everything comes over nicely from WebAssign. So if you have due dates in WebAssign, they will match in Brightspace. You can override it, but you may as well set them correctly in WebAssign. If you do extensions and things, it's a whole different story, and those are usually individual settings anyway, so I wouldn't stress about that. And then remember that, well, not even remember, the other key is that when you go to the gradebook, there will be an item there. See, I'm showing student names, that's okay, but I'm not showing anything else. Assignment 1 is there. So there we go. And that's it. That's the process. Thanks for watching.